This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week on the Heart of the Gulch YouTube show, we sit down with media personality Rodney Smith II, aka Radio Rod. In today's Walk the Line episode, we follow Radio Rod to downtown Nashville during CMA Fest to be CMA's correspondent on Broadway. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch. My name is Tony Mendoza, your host, and today I'm excited because you've seen this guy all around town. Not only all around town, he does and is on the radio here in Nashville. We're talking to the one and only Rodney Smith, aka Radio Rod, in the building. What's going on, Rod?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm blessed. I am blessed. A little bit tired, but blessed.
You know, it's the funny thing is when he jumped on to the studio here, I was scrambling. You saw that. I was scrambling a little bit because, you know, every guest that we have on the show, I make them feel as close as I can to home. So sometimes the interviews can go a little over.
Yeah.
But I knew from the jump, I was not going to dress as good as you, bro. I gave it up and I knew because I've seen you out. I've seen you at the Palace.
Yeah.
Man,
Shout
dude,
out.
Talk to me about the style, bro, because that's something I'm trying to get on your level.
I think the way that I see style is more so like it's an easy conversation starter. I mean, it's something that sets you apart from other people and that you control. I think that's the best thing about style and fashion. It's creative, it's evolving, it's ever changing. So it's more so like you can do so much with fashion. And I think my objective with style was to always just stand out. I didn't want to look like everybody else. I didn't want to get spoken to like everybody else. Like I wanted somebody to be able to point me out in a room and just be like, that dude looks important. I don't even know who he is. Right. I think it was the easiest thing to navigate Nashville. It's just like if I go out to these bars, yeah, I can get drunk, but I can also stand out to the point where it's just like people are going to start remembering you over and over and over every time you're coming to those same bars, same spots. And then it's going to lead to a conversation. It's like, what do you do? What are you doing here? Why are you here? Right. Easy conversation starter. You never know who you're going to talk to. They do say networking is so important. So I think that's the way that I saw fashion. It was just like if I can continue to stand out and my story is so impactful or what I do is so cool that if I can just get to the conversation, it's going to lead to something. Whether I can help you or you can help me, it's going to lead to something.
That's amazing. I love that. And, you know, we were talking outside the studio because, you know, I like to talk to everyone outside the studio. San Antonio?
San Antonio.
Come on.
Converse, to be exact. Converse, to be exact.
The east side.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm originally from Leon Valley.
Okay.
But parents moved out to the suburbs when I was younger to Helotes, Texas.
Okay, he was way out there.
Yeah, I was way out there. But how often do you go back home?
Oh, as much as I can.
Yeah.
I go, but it's kind of hard. Like life is starting to get even more and more busier. But I travel back to Dallas and Houston more than I do San Antonio, which is crazy.
It's the job, right? The job keeps you busy.
Yeah, life keeps me freaking busy. It's multiple jobs.
Well, yeah, that's we're going to talk about it because you have not only are you influential here in the city. I mean, you are also growing your massive following today on social media.
Yeah.
And not only from the style perspective, but also working with brands. A lot of things that these people that are watching today want to do.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to do.
No, not at all.
I think a lot of people assume that, you know, if you look good, you smell good, and you have the style that you're immediately going to be successful in that lane.
Yeah.
They don't know about the work ethic.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, we're talking about San Antonio. Let's talk about San Antonio a little bit. So, from San Antonio originally?
Yes.
Okay. San Antonio Spurs fan?
No.
Ooh.
Not really. So I'm not an NBA fan. Mm-hmm. The sum of fact that my sister's a basketball player, professional now. But I grew up, like our family is so close that growing up watching my sister do sports, knowing that she was going to be a star so early on, was just what I gravitated toward, was more so women's sports. So I watched like women's soccer, I watch women's basketball more than I do NBA. Football and soccer, I guess, are my main two that I watch, like, for male-wise. But I just grew up watching, like, women's sports so much that it was just, like, that's all I really, like, cared about as far as basketball.
You have to talk about that because one thing that people do not give enough respect to is women's sports.
Absolutely.
And because how tough they are.
Yeah. The cool thing about my sister is that, like, she was playing with the guys. She wanted to be so far in that mix because it was going to only better her. So she's currently in the WNBA. She's going on her third season. She's currently in Turkey, actually, playing overseas. But just growing up watching her hoop with the guys, hoop with us, like, she was out there. Like, fouls, all that stuff was nothing. And I think that's the majority of how a lot of WNBA stars are. They grow up playing with guys just because they want to get used to it. So just watching it is like when they do get to the league and they just dominate and they get those petty ass fouls. Oh, can we cuss on here?
Oh, yeah. Please. This is your interview, bro. We can talk out.
When they were getting those fouls and stuff like that, just seeing like how tough my sister was kind of dope to see. So I just... watching it was just fun. Like, that's why I just got so much into it. Like, I watch NCAA women's basketball now and still the WNBA. And then everybody's always just like, why do you care about that shit so much? And I'm just like, dude, like this, like, regardless from my sister, like, this stuff is so fun to watch. Like, it's so fun to watch. And I always say that college sports are more entertaining to watch than some professionals sometimes.
Absolutely.
Just because they want it more. When you're a professional, like, you kind of have some slack to, like, you know, slack off and stuff like that. But when you're in college, like, you're trying to make it, right? So it's do or die. And they're going, like, they're playing, they're going hard. And it's just never good. Like, you never want to see anything in, like, a draw or a close game. Like, or close games, yeah, but you like the aggressiveness that's in college sports.
Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about you though. So going through your time in San Antonio, what high school?
East Central.
East Central,
which was crazy because Judson was literally walking distance from where we lived.
Huh. So it's not every day that I meet someone from East Central.
Yeah.
So I mean, talk to me about East Central, and for the folks out there, what East Central is in the city.
So East Central is, I would say, the reason why I am sitting in this chair. Not so much because of, like, they helped get me to where I am now, but because of the environment, the atmosphere, the community. And this is where I found my love for dancing at East Central, was just I met so many kids that instead of going to the club was the cool thing, going to the dance hall was the cool thing.
Talk about it. I already know the club hall.
And this was my first experience. So I'm just like, everybody, it's like a Friday night, Friday, Saturdays. I think Wednesday were the big days. And everybody's going to Cowboys. Everybody's going to Cowboys dance hall.
Yo.
And I'm like, what the hell is Cowboys dance hall? Right? So I don't know what to wear. I'm just not familiar with what this is. And I go for the first time. Definitely underage, and everybody, it's just my eyes completely light up, and I'm like, what is this? People were in boots and just dancing, and the atmosphere just, it still gets a little bit rowdy, but the atmosphere felt so much more safe, just because wasn't much going on. Like, people were just enjoying country music, like people were just out there just dancing, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? So this is where my love for country music came into. I started listening to Cody Johnson, Big Texas Staple, Florida Georgia Line came into the mix. I remember Zach Brown Band. Some of those songs are just really started like impacting this wave. And I'm just like, holy crap, like country music is dope. All right, this is sophomore year of high school.
You caught on to this a lot earlier than me.
So early, so early. And it all ties back in together, because I always get so many people that ask questions like, how did you get into this? And it's just, people just think you up
but
and
they
woke
don't know
up
about
one
Cowboys,
day.
though.
Yeah. Then you just up and wake up and like something. Like, either you grow up in it or you learn to love it through respecting it. And it wasn't just something that I was like, oh, this is cool, let me go do this. It was like I found the love for it because I saw how much the atmosphere was so welcoming and friendly.
Talk about Texas dancing and how different two-stepping is versus here in Nashville.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
It's Texas people we just take it so serious just because we kind of like, we started it, it's not called the Texas two-step for no reason, and being that we take it so serious and we put so much time. I mean, we grew up practicing to it. You have all these dance groups that are forming these massive dance groups to go to events, go up to other dance halls like it's a gang rivalry. Like, people don't understand how serious Texas takes dancing.
All sports too.
Yeah, sports, like everything. So just being a part of that, it was never so much of like, this is the person I want to dance with. It's just like, who's putting the time in to want to learn, and who can I go out there and show the hell off with and look like the biggest and the baddest out there.
It's not even like, what is the Palace? And the Palace here in Nashville has their own form. Nashville two-step here, how would you describe it?
The cool thing about Nashville Palace is that it was such an open format of a dance hall that we could do whatever we wanted. So I DJ there. And when I started DJing there, we have, so Cali usually is line dance oriented, Texas usually partner dancing oriented, right? Nashville Palace was like, we're gonna do both, right? We're gonna cater to the line dance people. We're gonna cater to the partner dancing people, so we can keep this as the #1 dance hall in Nashville.
Which it is.
And it is now. Yes,
Yeah.
It is now, because we built that thing for so long. And we brought in DJs, we brought in we had a whole bunch of events. I had a dance group out there. And we were doing like t-shirt nights, and we were doing like $2 beer nights. Like, we literally just made this our #1 dance hall, and I go there every weekend that I'm in town.
Speaking of which, so, talking about that and creating that vibe, right? Because I like I said, the reason why you're on the show today is because I see you.
Yeah.
I see you, and that's what you, and now learning more is that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to be seen.
Exactly.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And, but what's amazing is that what you created, there are now influencers that go to the Palace that have a massive following, not understanding where it came from.
Yeah. That's what influencing is. Like, it's not about you. It's not about me. And that's what people seem to have a hard time grasping around, is when you're on social media, that it's about you. Like, you just want to be in the limelight. This is always going to be about you. And that's not what it is. If you look at any of my content, if you look at anything that I've done in Nashville, not one of that has been about me, right? I go do Western fashion because I like to dress up. That's not about me. I just like to be able to go put myself out there. Nashville Palace, I like to go out there and dance. I like to go give the DJs music and help out like that. Why? So people can start coming to Palace. I like to host rounds around town. I like to uplift upcoming artists. Why? Because they might not have a platform to uplift their music, right? Everything that you do as an actual influencer is to really influence other people to really partake in what you like. That's what an influencer is. Not the free shit, not the money. The money and all that is cool, but influencing to actually influence, I talk about this all the time, is what makes somebody an influencer. That's the difference.
This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLDS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. Your style. I mean, when did your style really start to pick up?
College. College is when it picked up. That's when I started learning. I was already wearing pretty out there stuff, fedoras, very bright apparel. Not so much like corny or anything like that, but like it was like very stylish stuff. I liked like the Steve Madden shoes, the slip-ons and stuff like that. So I was already dabbling in the fashion stuff. And then as I got in the country, I had to start learning about that side of fashion. And I was more so just mixing them in between each other. So I would wear like cowboy hat with slip-ons. Like, that's not really heard of, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. Right? So I was kind of creating my own style in the country scene. And then but I was also learning.
Is style therapeutic for you?
Yeah, I think so. I use it more so as a tool to get myself in the door. Right? So I've always felt like if I was stylish, or I was always set apart from somebody else, that just gave me it bumped me up a notch from maybe that same person that's trying to get the same job. So say if we were competing for, like a hosting gig, and I'm like, oh, he's amazing. I'm also really good, right? And my thought process would go to like, well,
what's the next thing that you can do?
Yeah, what else can I do that's going to put me in front
Love
of
it.
What's going to put me in front of somebody else's face? And it's just like, if I stay stylish, that's the first thing they're going to talk about is, damn, I really like your outfit. Oh, what do you do? Well, I want to be a music coach, just like him.
You're competitive. That's what it comes down to. You try to look. He's trying to say about the clothing that is and it's true though.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. If you look the part, you're gonna be known as the part, right? If you stand out in the crowd in the right way. Yeah. Because there's also standing out in the crowd the wrong way. Yeah. But if you stand out in the crowd the right way, you will be looked at in a different light. And but I think it all comes down to competitiveness, because you do not take the time to be the best dancer. Yeah. You do not take the time to look the best. You don't take the time to push others up if you weren't competitive. Yeah. So
That's true.
you are looking for a way to not only be, you're just starting to put yourself in position.
Yeah.
And that must come from competitiveness. So what is that internal drive like for you, bro?
I mean, it's more so like, what is the end goal when you ask yourself, like, what do you want? Where do you want to be? And so many times it's just like, if somebody asks you what you want to do for the rest of your life, and those people that say, I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet, I'm judging you. It's a sad reality, but you should know what you want to do after time. You should know what you're passionate about, what you love. Whether it be the most outlandish or out of pocket thing, like I want to be an astronaut. Okay, well, what steps are you taking to go be an astronaut? What are you putting into place to be an astronaut? Do you just want to say that you want to be an astronaut, or do you want to do it, right? So I think for me internally, it's just like, where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years, realistically? Like, what does your income look like realistically? What are you capable of actually going and go grab 3 to 5 years from now, and not just say what you can do? I can sit here and say, I want a Lamborghini all I want. Is that realistic for how hard I want to work to get a Lamborghini? That's what I have to ask myself. So that, I think for me, it's just like, I internally think about, where do you really realistically want to be, and how far are you willing to work and push yourself to go do it? Like I just told you, I had interviews last week at CRS, 25 plus interviews. I flew out to Houston that same night to go do 3 more videos for Tacovas and 3 more boot companies. Flew back just yesterday, came to do this podcast today while still working at my full-time job, fly out to Cali tomorrow, all the way to go do more stuff at a dance convention all the way till Sunday. Leave Monday, stay in Nashville for a week, go to Bama. Friday, gotta go do a rodeo out there, do some videos for a brand. Come back that Monday, fly to San Antonio, gotta go do I got to go talk to my elementary school, Elof in San Antonio. They want me to go back and talk. That same night, or Wednesday to Friday, I go talk on Friday. That same night, I drive up to Dallas for a store opening on social media. Come back to Nashville, and then I'm good.
Jeez Louise.
And it's just like, everybody always asks, is like, what do you take time to breathe? When do you take time to settle down? Well, my mind is like, if I'm not working twice as hard, somebody else will go do that. And if I want to be that person, that's like, that motivates you to want to work harder. Or what you thought was going to be just like, okay, I'll just do this. Then I see him, it's like, damn, now I need to be doing more. And that's why that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about, I'm not here for this to be all about me. I'm here to uplift the people around me, to be like, damn, he's working hard. He's making it happen. I can go do it too. So let me go work harder. So in a sense, it is competitiveness, because I do want to be the best at what I want to be. But you also have to reel back in and remember that sometimes there's people who are doing it, and you need to learn off of them. Don't compare yourself. Don't try to outdo them. Learn from them, and add your mix into it. And if they're better at it, support, uplift, learn. That's the most important thing. You just never know. And when you have somebody around in that circle that's going to uplift you and not compete, so even behind closed door, that's not trying to compete with you, that's important. That's so important to have an important supporting cast. And even as busy as I am, I have a monthly reminder on my calendar that says, check up on all your friends, check up on all your people.
It's about community, like you've been saying. It's not about uplifting yourself, because in social media, everyone puts their best version of themselves on social media, right?
It's a highlight reel.
It's a highlight reel. But the thing is, though, you know what outshines that is when I see you doing something amazing. I vibe with the video. I vibe with the content. And if I share it, you notice it. You see that. And you say, well, why did he share it? Well, not trying to say that I'm trying to be in your mind, but it's saying that, hey, this guy appreciates me. And that little bit of love goes so far.
Exactly.
So when you talk about, like, for example, Chase Rice, and you send a text message to Chase Rice saying, hey, congratulations on your award. Congratulations on the new song that you've released, right? He may not see it, and exactly what you said, later on in life, when he realizes that, oh, my boy's been with me since day one.
Exactly.
Makes all the difference. Now, that was my little rant for a second. Now, let's talk about social media and how important it is in today's society.
Yeah.
TikTok, and not only TikTok, because you have a great social media following in all platforms. You know, setting yourself apart hasn't been strange for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, how do you stay up with the algorithms?
There's nothing on my social media that you'll see that is faked. There's nothing that you'll see on my social media that's forced. Like, everything on social media should be a representation of yes, things that are fun that are happening in your life, but it also should be you. If you're on there being you and your audience connects with just you, that's what keeps you going on social media. And like I said, for Pierre, it's just like, he didn't realize that there's an audience out there for him. And that's a lot of people with social media. People are scared to get on it just because if I'm not getting the likes or the views, I'm not built for social media. No, that's not it. You haven't found it yet. You haven't found what you enjoy because you're so focused on trying to be somebody else. You're seeing other people's content blow up and you're comparing yourself to everybody else. That's what's going on. And that's why I say it goes back to being coachable. Social media is about being coachable because you have to learn off the people who are doing better than you, but figuring out how to add your own twist into it. But also, besides being coachable, is being versatile. On social media, it's not just fashion. Okay, like I go on there and I show everybody my horse journey. I just wanted to get into horses maybe 2 years ago. So I've been riding for maybe about 1.5 years now. And I go on there and I show people my journey in the horses. I go on there and I show people DJing stuff. When I'm DJing, I learned about upcoming artists in country music.
Songwriter.
That's important. I go on there and I throw dance videos up there to make sure people know that I can get down on the goddamn dance floor, like I can dance too. Then I also throw my real work stuff on there. I'll go in there and show people my artist interviews with like Kojo, Parker McCall, like stuff like that. I just keep it as this big umbrella. And that's how I see the Western space. The Western space is a big umbrella for multiple different things. And people talk about this all the time. I see Western as this big, bold theme. And under it, you have dancing, country music, fashion, horses, hunting.
Pillars.
All this other stuff that goes into being in country or being Western. And that's what keeps me in social media is that I am a sponge of multiple different things. And my favorite comment to get from people is, what don't you do? Networking is cool, but what do people know you for is what's going to get you through the door.
For you to be seen, there is a lot of your time that is spent out here, and you have to be out in the streets. You have to put your boots on the ground. So, when you're out there at the palace, that's time away from whatever else you're doing. When you have to fly out to do a brand deal, that's time.
Yep.
So, you have 24 hours in the day just like I, and, how do you value your time? And not only that, in that same question, you're probably going to go deep into that question, but I want to know this question too. So you brought up race when you're talking about, haters and TikTok. I don't see race because we both grew up from San Antonio.
Yeah.
Actually, this is we're going to get deep here. Yeah, we both had to sit up on that. So when I moved to Nashville in 2020, you moved to Nashville in 2019, end of 2019. I didn't know not segregation, but I didn't know what cliquey was. And growing up in San Antonio, everyone was Latino, right? And you have some white, you have some black, right? And black was more on the east side, white was more on the north side.
I'm glad you said this because I need this clip because people do not understand how we grew up in San Antonio. When I post, have you seen my social media? Like my Instagram?
I have, yes.
Okay, so you've seen like when I use Mexicans, I don't mean to cut you off, sorry, but when I use like Spanish songs.
Yeah.
And for so many of those comments are just like, you're trying to be something you're not. Like, that's not you. You're not. And I'm like, if only you knew what San Antonio looked like you're engraved in it. Like, you're basically, if you were born in San Antonio, that is the atmosphere you are around 24/7. But go ahead, sorry.
No, I love that you said that because when I think about San Antonio, me being light-skinned Latino, right? I am full. My grandparents came from Mexico, but I look like this. But in San Antonio, everyone looks every different color, right? And in San Antonio, we're not separated. No race is separated. It's Military City, USA.
Yeah.
And the military brings every walk of life in San Antonio. When I moved to Nashville, I didn't know how deep the racial tensions are here.
Yep.
And I don't think that people understand it because they didn't come from San Antonio where everyone was embedded in Salina. Everyone was bedded in the Cumbia Kings. Everyone was bedded with the same thing, Randy Rogers Band and George Strait. We got all these things and we were able to come together at Cowboys and be ourselves, and no one looked at race. Nobody.
Yeah.
So, wow, that was a long question to say this. Was that when you came here in Nashville, I mean, I couldn't imagine what it's been like for you on social media and have to deal with these, I'm going to just call it, and not you out there. Now, I'm not talking to you, but you other yous, those idiots out there that just want to hate just because they don't understand where you came from.
Yeah. So I'm not good about time management whatsoever, but I am blessed and fortunate to have a job that is fully remote and that is creative director influence. So I'm a creative director and talent producer is my full-time job. And currently right now we're partnered with the CMA. I've been doing all the CMA interviews and for artists and stuff like that.
And I want to talk about it, but we keep going deeper.
Yeah, I know. It's a blessing of a job, but right now, it's remote. So when projects are the way that my job is set up is like college homework. You have homework to do, you do it, and you get it done by the time the due date is due. That's the way that my job works right now, unless we have an interview in person or like an award show is coming up. So I have so much flexibility with time, thankfully, with my job. But on top of that, time management is important. I would say to an extent of how far you are trying to go. You got to be realistic. If you really want to be as big as you say you want to be big, sleep, not a thing. You got to be on the go. You got to put yourself out there. You're going to be busy majority of the time. And that's just the sad truth of it. Like people come to Nashville, and Nashville's a perfect example because artists come here to pursue a music career, right? You could be the most talented motherfucker when it comes to singing country music. Hell, Lainey Wilson, take the Morgan Wallen. It's like they came to Nashville. They didn't pop as soon as they got here. They had to find other ways to be relevant, right? And they weren't just resting and singing in a house and waiting for their shot. That's what Nashville expects. That's what people think Nashville is when it comes to country music is. I'm just going to go to Nashville because it's Music City. I have a great voice. I'm going to make it. Then they get over here, they get a reality check. Then nobody cares about them because they're not putting themselves out there. And then they get stuck. And they get stuck in a city where they're not really going to work hard for it. And then they just go do something else. You see it happen so many times. So time management depends on how far you want to go.
Now let's flip to what I was saying earlier about San Antonio, right?
Now sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. So San Antonio being a multicultural city with a lot of culture that embraces all walks of life, and how Nashville is very much, there's cultures, that's another thing is people think that Nashville, when you think of Nashville, you just think of country music. That's not the truth.
Not at all.
And it's because, I don't want to say it, but I am going to say it, that the system here embedded in the South has changed the city and what people think that Nashville's about.
Yeah.
And, but outside of that, so where I want to bring the conversation to is, did you realize when you moved to Nashville here, how different it was and how unintentionally segregated it was?
Yeah.
And then talk about, being stylish as you are, and I don't see your color, bro, but people here do. And tell me how challenging has it been to have to deal with that?
Yeah, I got a little racism here and there, but at this point, I think almost every African American and every diverse person will tell you that, or some of them. Now, I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but you pretty much get immune to racism over time. Like I'm just so used to it at this point that I'm never surprised by it at any point. And I think when I got to, and that started for me in college, just because I grew up playing soccer all my life, bro. Like, I was getting it all. I was getting it all the time. I was also a theater kid, I was not the normal kid growing up.
You're right.
I was completely all over the place with everything. And that's why I was so bullied. That's why I was getting so much shit. It's just because everything that I was doing was not normal. That's why everybody hated me, because I was having fun. And then over time, those same haters are now my biggest fans. And they'll reach out to me. Oh, where do I get a pair of boots? Where blah, 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 blah. Like now everybody is on board with it. But if I would have gave up so early on and took in all that hate and really let it affect me, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Do you think people do that today?
Yeah, they do. But as I said, most people who are diverse are so immune to racism. Like you're gonna get it. We don't live in a perfect world where it's peaches and rainbows when it comes to racism. Like it's gonna happen, and for stuff that you can't control. But how fun is it to get hate for you living life how you want to live? That's fun. I'm out here enjoying wearing Western wear. I'm enjoying listening to country music. I'm enjoying dancing. You hate me because I'm having fun. That's fun. I love that. And that's the reason why I'm so okay with racism. It's because it's never put me in a situation where people are actually trying to put harm to me. right? You can keep talking about it, but nobody's ever done it. I've been in the most sketchiest parts of Kansas, Texas, Alabama. Nothing, right? Because I'm enjoying life. I'm not bothering nobody. I'm having a good time. But they see you on social media, and that's their best time to try to hurt you the most.
It's amazing how social media has brought you in so many situations.
Yeah.
Now, talk to the person that's watching right now that is struggling with creating that content, that's struggling to, maybe they are different. Maybe they have a unique idea and they're just afraid to put themselves out there. What can you do, or what can you suggest to get those people out of their shells?
Find a purpose. The people who are scared to be on social media, why? Are you scared to be out there because you're nervous? Like there's always got to be some reason why somebody doesn't want to do social media, because most people, and what the biggest thing is I'm not getting the likes or the views, or I don't want to copy what other people are doing. So that goes back to, what is your purpose? How are you different from all the other people that are doing the same thing that you're doing or that you want to do? It's like when I first started doing the fashion stuff, like there's a lot of people that dress cowboy stuff. There's a lot of people that put on a pair of cowboy boots, but they're not recording themselves because they don't want to put themselves out there. So my purpose was to get the people that felt like they couldn't do it a purpose. And that was my purpose, was to help, was to give people the confidence to say, F it, we're going to get a lot of hate. You can join this team where we don't care, or you can continue to sit back and watch other people do what you do and what you love to do, or what you would love to do. And that's really the fine line between people choosing, right? I've gotten a lot of messages of people just like, I didn't think I could wear a cowboy hat with dreads. I didn't think I could wear a cowboy hat with earrings. I didn't think I could wear a pair of boots with a nose ring until I saw you do it. That was my purpose for social media. Not because I wanted the money, not because I wanted the free clothes, was because there's a whole bunch of people that look like me that probably didn't have the balls and didn't have the courage to go say F it to the people that were gatekeeping, racism, all that type of stuff. They didn't want to endear that. And I get messages all the time of people just like, people give me shit all the time because I'm black and I wear a cowboy hat, or I'm Latino and people give me crap all the time, even though we originated blah, blah, blah. What is your purpose for wanting to be on social media? Some people, and those same people that you see, I'm gonna piss a lot of people off here, those same people that you see buying their social media following and their likes and their followers are people whose purpose was just to do it because they wanted the free stuff, they wanted the money, and they wanted the free clout. They didn't do it because they didn't have a purpose for influencing. That their purpose was because they wanted to be a fake celebrity. You're not getting the real messages of fans showing their appreciation to you. You're not getting real fans coming out to you and taking pictures and brands respecting you for what you do. You're getting a little check from you faking. And that can only last for so long, because once you do that for about 2 to 3, 4 years, how long are you going to keep faking your shit until you start to give up, like, damn, I lost my purpose?
Yeah, the K behind the number will influence more people to follow you than necessarily that K being real.
Exactly. And whether they know you as a person or not, they're just, oh, you have a big social media following, you must be somebody important. When in reality, they're living the same life that you're doing, making probably the same money that you're doing, and all they got is just these numbers that make them think like they're so much bigger than anybody else. And that just shows you how much people engrave themselves in the social media. Is like, people are losing their lives over social media. People are falling into depression. Mental health is worse.
Spending
money. Like, imagine you're paying like hundreds of dollars to get these followers and these likes. Because once you do, the thing is, once you start paying for likes, you're stuck. You got to continue to keep paying for those likes now. Or when you see that decrease, people are going to ask you, well, what the hell happened?
Yep.
So now you're stuck, whether you want to pay for it or not.
That's when they put it into others.
Yeah. Once you start it, you're stuck there. And whether you have that money or not, you are now finding yourself wasting that last couple of dollars just so you can make that likes amount. And it just never makes sense. And I can't tell you stop doing it. I can't make you stop doing it. But over time, you're going to see that it was pointless. Like, you're going to start to feel like so much shit. And I feel like it's wasted time for you to do that.
There are a lot of people, and I won't lie, I'm competitive. So it hurts my ego to see young, very attractive ladies being in front, having that microphone, speaking to these amazing artists. Let's use Luke Combs, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just throwing one out. And the question is so superficial. Mm-hmm. And then, for example, we're having a conversation today, and we were talking about it off air. It goes so deeper than us having a question.
Yeah.
It goes deeper than that. So, how do you feel, relatively being newer to being in front of the camera, having the microphone in your hand, and seeing that your same person to the right of you or to the left of you ask so generic questions?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that make you feel?
It's life. It's life. A lot of these companies, I mean, when you're in the startup phase, like for radio, the promotion phase where you're holding the cables, you're driving the vans, like, you see where you belong. You see who you could be better than. And I think for that, it's just a mental thing of telling yourself, calm down. All right, figure you out, worry about you, and just you got to be patient. The media, everybody wants to be in media. Everybody wants to be in media. Everybody wants to be in social media. But media, even if we're turning to just the media aspect, everybody wants to be in media, right? So even your biggest hosts that you see are always older people. Like, they're usually I'm not gonna say names, but like, they're always
older.
They're always older.
They're not in their 20s, right? Or early 30s.
Exactly, because everybody has to do their time, and some people don't want to wait. Some people do want to wait. And like, for my instance, it's like, I could have waited, or I could go do it on my own and find a way to fit myself in. And this is what I was telling you earlier about me landing here in Nashville by accident. I had no idea Nashville was going to be home. I had no idea that Nashville was going to be where my roots were going to be. I had no idea that Amazon was going to throw me on a red carpet the week of. Like, I had no idea. But the more that you keep putting yourself out there, just staying relevant, the more you stay prepared, those opportunities are going to come. And for certain people, it's going to come shorter and faster. It just happens. That's the way the life is. Like, I moved to Nashville 3.5, 4 years ago, and I got my first break 2 years in. Yep. Right. That's not normal. That's not normal for a lot of people, but it's because I went and did the hard work. Once COVID happened and I got laid off from radio, I could have waited for another job, waited for radio to come back, or I can go figure it out on my own. And I went to go make that podcast that magically went viral by accident. I went and started the artist interview show that magically started to take off. Then I started playing hardball with these radio stations that wanted to sign us. You got to just continue to keep working and work and work and work. And that's why I told you my time management is horrible, is because I continue to keep working. There's no days off. There's something that I could be doing. Rather it be like with the podcast that I'm trying to start, okay, let me get an outline going. Artist suggestions, thinking of something. Social media, my next social media idea, what can I do? There's always something that you could be doing. So when I see these other people that are getting their break, even earlier, later than me, more boring than me, that's fine. That's fine.
Because you're going to work harder.
That's fine, because I'm going to keep working, and it's going to come eventually. I promise you it's going to come. There's no if my time comes. It's when my time comes.
So, are you ready for crowd noise and to hear these questions that are asked?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Or an interview that you had that was really just like a pinch me, I'm dreaming.
God, his fucking voice sounds so familiar.
And you know him too.
I do.
Okay. Anyway, we're not gonna
question. Okay. Yes. What was the question?
So what's been a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment in an interview?
Oh, Cody Johnson. Interviewing Cody Johnson was by far my biggest highlight so far, and I think, dude, like I said, for us Texans, there's a lot of people who, you know, we have certain respect for it, like a lot of respect for it. And Cody Johnson is going to be our next George Strait for sure. Oh, especially for my age, you know, being 26. But him, when that interview happened, my whole team knew I was super, super excited for it. And I prepared for this. I was so fucking ready to interview this man. And I asked all the right questions. I had so much depth in these questions because he does a military shout out at his concerts all the time. Mm-hmm. And there was like a time frame where social media was hating him for it because it was too political, blah, blah, blah. And I asked him a question about it. it was the last question, and I can't remember what the question was, but after that question, he was just like, that's a really good fucking question. And to hear that from like one of your fucking heroes is already one thing. After that, he came up and shook my hand again, and he said, where are you from? I said, San Antonio, Texas. He said, I can tell you're from Texas. He's like, real can recognize real. And at that moment is when I was like, I've been fighting so many people on social media to feel like I belong here and in this Western space. And to hear from somebody who's so well respected, not only in country music, but the Western space in general, I was like, that's when I knew that I was where I belong.
And briefly, before we go into these next two questions, briefly talk about the difference in country music from Texas country to what people hear here in Nashville.
You know, it's just Texas country. You know, its roots were just like it was Western. It was country. It was honky tonk. It was real. And Nashville, like I said earlier, Nashville is just such a creative and versatile town that you can come to Nashville and you can play whatever country music you want. And if it resonates, it resonates. Texas stuck to its country roots. We didn't want to go past that. And that's what we stuck with. So Red Dirt Country is Red Dirt Country for a reason, because it's some serious country shit. Now, Nashville, you can come and get pop country. You can get Spanish country. You can get bro country. You can get traditional country. You can get whatever you want. Just because if it works in Nashville, it works. This is Music City for a reason, right? In Texas, people stay so true to themselves. And if their music resonates over there, then that's some people's highlight.
Our last question here, and then I got two more questions, then your day in the life. So let's see what this question says.
Has been the most intimidating to play.
So what's been one of the most intimidating things to either play or interview?
I was freelance at the time, still serving a cheesecake, and I did a For Love of Country Music documentary on Amazon. It was about the Black people in the Western space, artists, dancers. I was representing radio at the time, so I did my little interview, similar like this, but I did my little interview. They learned my story. This was on Amazon Music. Through that, my job, who I'm currently with now, saw that. And they were like, hey, we're interested in you joining our team. And this is my first time. This will be my first full-time job since leaving college. Like every post-grad's dream is getting that full-time gig, especially in a media space. Like that's really unheard of.
Very rare.
Unless you've done like internships and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I was like, what's the project? They said, ACM Awards, Red Carpet, you're doing the interviews. I'm like, okay, like you want me to like help you guys with the interviews? It's like, no, you're on the mic, you're on the camera, you're interviewing 25, 30 plus artists on the red carpet at the ACM Awards. I was like, got it, no problem. Of course, I was fucking nervous, but this is one of those fake it till you make it situations. I'm going to act like I belong here. And I know I belong here. And this is my opportunity to go full time. I know I wanted to get out of serving. I wanted to get out of all these 3 different side gigs that I was doing to make money, to pay the bills. And I was like, this is my opportunity. I'm not going to let this fly just because I've never done this before. So fly out to Vegas. Of course, you know me in outfits. I planned the 3 most biggest outfits I'm going to put together in my life. And I hit this red carpet. I hit this music row, and I'm interviewing artists like I've known them for years. Like I'm nailing all of this. That's the good thing about being out of Nashville, is that some of these people have seen me out in public already at these bars, and they remember me. So it made it a little bit even easier. But sometimes, I mean, when they would come up, I'm shaking hands, hugging them, like I know them. Like I remember Lainey Wilson complimenting my outfit just because I acted like I knew her before. I've seen her before, and without that mindset, I probably would have just failed. But I was like, no, dude, like this, I'm ready to get out of it. This is it. So after that, after it went so well, I took over Amazon Music's like social media, everything. I ended up getting a full-time job and where I am now. And it's opened up even more doors. Now currently we're with the CMA, and that's why I've been doing all the CMA interviews. But that opportunity was the biggest stepping stone of my career.
That's amazing. I love that story. Now, my last 2 questions on the show before we see your day in the life, which could be anything. My last 2 questions, my guys already know this. The first question always talks about hate. I find it interesting that there's so many different variations of how to cope with hate. I mean, how do you deal with it? And can your way of dealing with it help the person that's watching this right now deal with it themselves?
Hate is necessary. It's necessary. Like most people wouldn't have the drive that they had if everything was perfect, you know? Like I needed people to comment on my videos hateful stuff. I needed people to comment stuff that I didn't know. You know, if people were just like, you shouldn't be grabbing the motherfucking horn on a horse, right? Whether that be disrespectful or not, that I learned. And now I can't be grabbing the horn on a horse because then I look like I don't belong here. You know, so I navigate hate as helpful. I think it's helpful, and I need it. And if everybody was to tell me that I was perfect all the time, I'd feel weird. It'd be weird because I'm just like, damn, well, what am I supposed to reach for? What goals am I supposed to reach if everybody's going to keep handing me everything, you know? So I think to the person that is trying to figure out how to navigate hate, it's more so just endure it. Endure it, learn it, grow with it, and use it. That's what I do. I use it. All those reply videos that I use on social media, I throw it there and I poke fun at them, right? Because if they see that you're having fun with their hate, what else is gonna piss you off more? Smile at your haters.
Now, speaking of 2024, I mean, what are some things you're looking forward to this year? I mean, do you have any milestones? Do you have any goals? Do you have any events coming up planned that maybe brands are taking you to?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to this 2024?
One of the things that I'm looking forward to in 2024 is me and Pierre to get our podcast going. And I think it's because our upbringing in the social media thing has been very, very similar. I think we've always remained boys and loyal to each other throughout it. And that's really rare to come around when people are in the media space. You know, a lot of people want to be around you because you're doing successful, but it was like we grew together and we learned this together. And regardless if one person is doing better than the other, like we've always remained true to one another. And we have a message. We have a gift, and we have something that you can't just go up on the street and find. Right, you have two people in the Western space who not only respect everybody, but who've made a pretty good name for themselves worldwide and locally. You know, so I think the podcast has been something that we have a lot of the same fans, and everybody's we did one video, you know, by accident. Or not by accident, but we tried one video and it got 5,000 streams, and it was our first time ever doing something together. So we know there's an ear for people wanting to listen to us and who we have to talk to. So I think that podcast will be something super, super special if we can actually get it going. I want to continue to keep learning. I want to continue to keep learning, impacting. I want to keep setting. I want to continue to be a pioneer and an inspiration for the people below me. And if you like followers and social media and hosting, like I want to continue to keep uplifting people to do exactly what I'm doing, because that shit's cool. It's really, really cool, and I was fortunate to be in it. So I mean, if anybody else can do it, like, bro, we're gonna be blessed to be here. So I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds like an amazing. I cannot wait to hear something like that. And you and Pierre, I could just imagine what a conversation like would be. The way that I set up. So what makes us a YouTube show versus a podcast is this segment called Walk the Line, where we film your day in the life. It's not necessarily a day in the life. It's more of a moment that you would like to show your fans. But the way we set it off, right, is right here. You look straight into that camera right there. You say your name and you say, this is how I walk the line.
Okay.
Just like Johnny Cash. And then we are going to transition it to your day in the life. And I'm super excited to see where it's going to take us.
Okay.
All right.
So I just say my name?
Yep. Say your name, and this is how I walk the line after this applause. You ready?
Yep.
All right. And
what's up, y'all? It's Radio Rod, Rodney Smith, and this is how I walk the line.
hey.